My name is Lisa Crosby. I'm with Barhead Solutions, and this is our live event on Microsoft for Lawyers. Today, we are looking at the awesome world of capability around document processing and AI. And I will introduce your presenters for today, my colleagues Rishona and Amanda. I'll hand over to them, and I will be in the chat. Please, if you've got questions, thoughts, ideas as we go, do pop them in the chat, and I'll refer your questions onto our presenters or answer them as we go. So over to you, Rishona and Amanda.
Thanks so much, Lisa. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us on today's session for AI. We've got some really amazing stuff lined up for you. We're excited to show you what you can do with Microsoft's AI technology. And thanks for joining us. So my name is Rishona from Barhead Solutions. I work here as a Power Platform trainer, and I'll be demoing us the AI features for today. Amanda, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Rishona. Hi, everyone. My name's Amanda Fadgerman. I'm the Engagement Manager for Consensus, which is a matter management and contract lifecycle management application built on the Microsoft Cloud. I have a real passion for helping lawyers maximize their legal technology needs with Microsoft, and I wear a few other hats as a proud committee member of WALTA, the Women of Australian Legal Technology, and a geeky guru for the Centre of Legal Innovation. First off, on behalf of Barhead, I want to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land I'm standing on here today, the Boon Wurrung and the Wurundjeri Woi-wurrung peoples of the Eastern Kulin Nation, and pay respects to their elders past, present and emerging, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who are joining us here today. I also want to acknowledge and thank our fabulous event partners, the Centre of Legal Innovation and the Australasian Society for Computers and the Law. We're thrilled to be presenting this series with you to further our joint mission of innovation in the legal industry. So just to recap, this is the fourth session of our 8-part series on Microsoft for Lawyers. Just a reminder that if you have missed the previous 3 sessions, they are all available on demand, and you can watch them anytime through LinkedIn, through the past events, or on our website and YouTube. Our target audience here are any types of legal practitioners, from in-house to private practice, and I really hope that there's something in here for everyone to take at all levels. The sessions have been building on each other, so we really appreciate your feedback. If you've got any questions, we really hope that you're finding these sessions insightful and you're learning a lot from them. So just to recap, our first session presented and introduced all the Microsoft applications, focusing really on teams and that ecosystem of how lawyers can manage the information that they need to in the Microsoft environment. So we delved into Microsoft's productivity tools and how legal teams can use tasks, to-do and planner to better manage their work. In session 2, we covered how legal teams can use Power Automate to automate processes such as approvals and notifications, how to automate an NDA, how to streamline that process, and we demonstrated how you can create a flow to use and automate documents and approvals. In session 3, we discussed conversational chatbots and how Microsoft's virtual power agents can help with intake, triage, and self-service. And today, we are introducing Microsoft's AI capabilities. Now, this is AI Builder. We'll demonstrate through some examples how AI Builder can be used to extract data for processing. We'll show you how you can train a system to read and interpret any type of form. We'll use a law firm invoice as an example, or a contract schedule, and really extract some key data points. So AI Builder boasts Microsoft's similar no-code capability in the Power Platform, and combined with Power Automate has infinite possibilities to unlock the power of your data. So it really enables any business users to tailor the AI to meet specific needs. So you don't need to be a data scientist or a developer to make apps or processes more intelligent. The flip side of this is, of course, that it's completely customizable. So it really can help a broad variety of industries such as retail, manufacturing, banking, etc. It's not specific legal technology, so you need to train it, but it is equally as applicable to legal as it is to every other industry. So it really benefits from Microsoft's investment into AI and their deep machine learning capability. So just a few examples of how AI Builder can be used in the context of legal. Microsoft's mission is to empower businesses and people with their products and services to drive efficiency, enhance processes, and connect people, and leverage the power of their data. So AI Builder makes artificial intelligence accessible to businesses and users, allowing you to be more efficient and insightful in operating your business. Now, I know there's a lot of hype surrounding AI in the context of legal, performing contract reviews, identifying non-standard positions, finding relevant documents in the discovery process, conducting legal research, drafting contracts, and even predicting legal outcomes. And what AI Builder excels at is recognizing patterns based on experience, which is something we do as lawyers every day. So the benefit of AI Builder is that it can do this at an extremely fast rate and learn patterns very quickly. And then when you combine that with the automation that you can achieve with Power Automate, it can enable you to drive efficiencies in your organization. So we'll go through some of these examples in a moment, and I'll ask Rashona to take us through some of Microsoft's AI capabilities.
Of course, thanks, Amanda. So first of all, I'm just going to show us what these capabilities are. So we'll get into where you can find it in a moment, but I just want to talk through what's there, what's available. You can start to get some ideas of what you could possibly use this for. So let me go ahead and show you what type of models we have for things such as text recognition, processing your documents, classifying things into categories, predicting outcomes, and also something we'll demo today, which is invoice processing. So first of all, over in AI Builder, we can see all of these models here. And they're even broken up across different categories to make it a bit easier for you to identify which ones are there. So this will load in a moment, hopefully not too long. Here we go. So first of all, over here we have all of the AI models available, but if we just want to see what we could do with documents, say for example. So we can do things like invoice processing. So one we'll demo today will be around invoices, where you can have an invoice, someone, let's say you upload the file or it comes through on an email, and automatically AI Builder will extract the data from that. You can even train it to recognize some custom documents you might have, like maybe contracts or something a bit more unique as well. With AI Builder, there are two types of models you can get. They're custom and also pre-built models. We'll demo both for you in today's session, but a pre-built model, for example, is one like this invoice processing one. All you need to do to be able to use this pre-built model is click on it, and then it's pretty much ready to go. You can have your invoice there, and it can automatically extract the info from you. Another one we'll show as well is one of these custom models that you can do. So let's say you have something like a contract. You can train it to recognize where exactly the data is you want on that contract. So you train this custom model to be able to identify that, and then from that point, it can extract the information that you need. So in the documents area, this is all about extracting information from documents, invoices, pictures as well, business cards too. We have a few different ones available when it comes to any text-related AI we want to do. So things like detecting the sentiment. Let's say maybe you get feedback come through on an email. The sentiment analysis is a model that's ready to go. So it can take a look at that email and what was sent, and then determine, is it positive feedback? Is it negative? Is it neutral? So this is quite useful for any customer service type scenarios that you want to build. You can also do things which we'll show you as well, such as categorize text that comes through. So let's say if you have an email come through and then you want to be able to categorize that information. So pull out info like what's the organization, what's the time it relates to. Even extract the relevant key phrases. So this is another pre-built model that's there that can automatically take whatever text you have and then determine what the key purpose of it is. So it helps you with routing, helping you quickly determine the subject of something. And even we can test this out with these samples that are here. So you can see as I randomize the sample, it's pulling out the important info that we need from that. So those are some text related ones. We also have structured data. So this is where you can do things like predictions and outcomes. But I'm also going to move on to the images one now, which is especially useful because this is for when we do things such as, let's say you take a picture of something and you want to be able to pull the text out of that. So with these models, you don't need to train it or anything. It's ready to go. It will immediately have a photo, pull out the text. You can even use it with handwriting as well. So I've tried it out with my not great handwriting, and it's actually pretty good. It can pull it out quite well if you need to extract that text from an image or from a PDF. So that's an overview of some of the models that are available for you to use in AI Builder.
Thanks, Roshona. Now, let's get started in actually building a model. So to start off, can you show us where users can find AI Builder?
Yes, of course. So there are 3 places you can go and look for AI Builder. So just keep in mind that AI Builder is a premium feature, so it does require additional licensing. We won't get into that for today, but you can sign up for something called a Power Apps Developer Plan if you wanted to try out what we're showing you today for free. So I do have a link to some info on how you can sign up for this plan. Amanda, if you have it handy, you can put it in the chat there. Otherwise, I can post the link later. But for AI Builder, you can use it in Power Apps, Power Automate, or it's even available directly in Microsoft Teams as well. So at the moment, I'm over in make.powerapps.com. You should also be able to find this site from your Office apps that you have available. You should have Power Apps and also Power Automate there. So if you're in Power Apps, you can just go down to AI Builder down the side. And this is where you can, first of all, see all those models that I've just shown you from here. Or then there's also the models area, which are the ones that you've built that you can go and check on to see. In addition to this, same thing, you can also go and check out over in the Power Automate website, which you're probably familiar with already if you've come along to some of our previous sessions. So simply Power Automate. Once again, you can find that from your apps listed here. And down here, we have AI Builder. It doesn't really matter which one you pick to use. You can do it from Power Apps. You can do it from Power Automate. It's going to be the same models and the same experience here too. So once again, you can browse them through here and also see the ones that you've used in the models area. Finally, one more thing. Directly within Teams, it's available as well. And it's available as parts of the Power Automate app that you can get. So if you look for in your Teams app, Power Automate, so this is like the Teams embedded version of Power Automate where you can build out your processes and your flows. You can build a flow that uses some of these AI Builder tools already. So something you can do to get started is you can browse through the templates that are there. There's a specific one for AI automation, and you can see there things like analyze the sentiment of emails that come through. You can process receipts as well using AI Builder. So what you can do is when you click on one of these templates that are there, you can sign up for an AI Builder trial if you wanted to use it within Teams as well. So there are ways within Teams you can also call it in the flows that you're building to. So Amanda, that's where we can go and find AI Builder.
Thanks, Roshona. Okay, so let's use one of the pre-built models now. Let's use the invoice template because I feel like for many lawyers in corporate legal departments, managing their law firm invoices and managing the whole process of capturing the data from those invoices and recording how much money is being spent against an estimate, etc., and approving those invoices is quite a bugbear. So can you show us how we can extract information from an invoice?
Exactly. I feel like this is a good one to start off with because it is a lot easier than you think it would be. So we'll get started with showing you the defaults of how it works, and then later we'll extend it a bit. I'm going to head over into Power Automate. Let's do it in Power Automate. And let's go over into AI Builder. The one we want to start with here, of course, is our model for extract information from invoices. So this is, once again, a pre-built one. There's nothing we need to train here with this. It's pretty much ready to go. So all we need to do for this is simply click this button, use in a flow. This gives us a pre-built flow to work with, which, as we'll see when we get into it, the idea of this one is that we'll upload our invoice here. It's going to extract information from it, and then it's going to send us the results of it in an email. So this is ready to go for us to use. Let me show you the invoice I'll test it out on. So we've got this one here. You can see we've got things like the line items that will pull out quantity, price, the total, who sent it, invoice number. So pretty much your standard invoice that you have. Let's go ahead and upload this one. So let's first of all save that. And once that's saved, we can test it out to see it run. So we'll go manually and let's go ahead and upload it. There's my sample invoice, and let's run that flow. So that's going now. So it's pulling out the information. That could take a few seconds depending on how big our invoice is, but it's only one page, so it shouldn't take that long. And while that's going, I'm going to go ahead and open up Outlook in the meantime so we can see the results come through. And I just heard the ding off the email, so there we go. This is the end result of that now. So you can see it sent us this email with these fields, the invoice ID, the date, the total that was there, and the line items too. The other thing you'll notice is that there's also this thing called the confidence score. So that's the score of how accurate AI Builder is determining the results to be. It's on a scale of 0 to 1, by the way. So score of 0.9 is extremely high, which means it's very confident that these are the results there. So if we just head back to that flow, there is a lot more info that it will pull out as well. So what we've done here in this flow is that it's using dynamic content to be able to work that in. So if I wanted to modify this email, I could just simply click on that. I can scroll down and I can see a lot more of this info that was sent via AI Builder, like the billing address, customer ID. So there's a lot more information that's been pulled out from this invoice than simply the ones that we saw on that email. So you can modify this flow as you want. So Amanda, that is the default flow and way that we can extract information out from our invoices.
Thanks, Roshona. And, no doubt, that's just an example of some of the data that you can pull. Obviously, law firm invoices can be quite complicated, can be quite lengthy, but it's infinite possibilities in terms of, what you can extract and how you can use the data once you've extracted it. So let's actually take it a step further and imagine a scenario where you do want to actually take that information and route it for approval. So a lawyer receives the invoice, they need to review it, approve it, and then send it off to finance to get actioned.
Yep, absolutely. Let me show you what that end result is going to look like, and then we'll get into it. I see we've got some questions there as well.
Yeah, I was going to, do you want to interrupt you, Roshona, if you're about to share? Do you want to take those now?
Let's do the question break.
Let's do the questions. All right. Let's bring these up. So the first one here. Actually, sorry, let's take this one first because it makes a bit more sense. Is the license for AI Builder included with the Microsoft 365 E5 license?
So it's not included with the E5 license. So the AI Builder licensing is separate. You can get some included with your Power Apps license though. Otherwise, it's not included with the E5.
All right, and then we've got a couple of questions about sort of getting a bit more sophisticated around extracting things. So this was the first one here. Customize we're not really talking about macros, but customizing the flow certainly here to process all invoices into a folder.
Yep. That's a great question, because there's actually an inbuilt document automation solution that you can get with AI Builder and Power Automate. We're not showing you this one today. So the ones we'll demo for today are simply like a file will get uploaded in a folder or an email comes through. But if you had something maybe like a service inbox that got all types of things, maybe it got contracts sent through, invoices, so all types of documents that you wanted processed, there's this thing called the document automation solution. Let me bring that up for us. So actually what this does, the document automation, is that it is constantly monitoring an inbox that you have. So from that inbox, you can actually go in. If an email comes through with an attachment or a model that you've set up, like extracting text, you can see it appear here in this solution. It's actually like a inbuilt Power App that's here. And then you can see what's being extracted, and then you can set up some processes to kick off from that. So this is like a one-stop solution, one place to see all of these models and everything that's being analyzed or run through AI Builder from here.
Awesome. I'm just grabbing the link to that and putting it in the chat so that
thanks, Lisa. Yeah,
we've got that in there. And then if anyone else is watching this later, you'll find the links in the thread there as well. Another one here around sort of breaking up contract into individual clauses. Are there any clause extraction products on the AI Builder Azure AI Future roadmap?
Let me take a read at that one. Breaking into individual clauses.
I can take a stab at that one, Roshona.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like. So essentially, what we've got within the platform here is AI Builder is designed to handle the most common use cases in this really easy wizard style interface. And that's what Roshona is showing you. That's actually built on much deeper, sophisticated capability that can pretty much learn and do whatever you want. So we've got this whole suite of Azure Cognitive Services underneath. There will be the ability to train a model to do that kind of thing, but AI Builder isn't the answer to that. AI Builder is a much more, it's making the most common things very simple, and then you can dive deeper into the platform to do specific things that you need to train a model for. So there's a way to do that in the broader platform. Next one here. I wonder if you could use classify text into custom categories. So I've lost the thread of what that referred to. Again, I can. There's a category classification model in there that could be used.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
I think
we'll show you something similar at the end. Yeah, with category classification.
Yeah, I think that's in response to Rob's question about extracting clauses. And I think, it is there, the potential is there to use some of those pre-built models to get some of those key, the key text or certain custom categories out of the contracts. We'll go through an example later in the series about extracting some contract schedule data, which isn't the exact use case that you're after, but it will go through how you could customize a model to actually extract specific data, whether that is in the form of a schedule or a clause.
All right, back to it, Roshona.
All right. I love these questions, by the way. Keep them coming.
Keep the questions coming. It was sort of very quiet, and then suddenly lots coming through. So I've got my eye on it. I'll interrupt you when we've got some more. So keep going.
All right. So what I'm going to show us next is, like Amanda said, we're going to keep going with this invoice one that we got, but we're going to modify it a bit. So this time we're going to have that invoice come through via an email, and it's going to send off an approval. It will go and ask, can we approve this invoice? And then if it's approved, it's going to go and pass it on to the accounts team to go and process. So by the way, this process we're about to show you, you could modify it however you want. Maybe if you want it to automatically go and put the invoice into your system that you use, and that's another thing that you could do as well. All right, so let me show you what we're going to do. So I have this email here. So I'm sending it to Alex Hunter. So my demo persona is Alex Hunter, who's going to be his account. So an email comes through to him, this invoice, and then that's what's going to trigger our flow to run. So I've attached that same invoice that I've shown us, our one that we have there, and I'm sending an email. So let's go ahead and send that through. So what we'll get through in a moment, let's bring up Alex's inbox. is he's got this sent, and now this is going to go and trigger our flow to run, which is going to send off our approval process. So in a moment here, we will see an approval come through via email and also via Teams. So let's see, I think that might be the one for Teams. Here we go. Same thing. So whoever needs to approve the invoice, they'll also see this request come through via email too. So you can see here we've got that new invoice from Consensus. Consensus was the name of the organization. We've got the total come through, and also the due date has been pulled out from that too. So let's go ahead and approve that. And finally, let's pretend Alex is also the accounts team. We've then passed on that email and the attachment of the invoice over into the accounts team for them to go and process. So let's take a look at how we go and build this flow out. I might go ahead and build, how much time do we have? You know, I'm gonna build it from scratch for us, but if we're running out of time, I might show you the pre-built one already that we have. So what's the one that we're doing today? Send approval. I'm just gonna open that up on my end here. All right, so the way that we want to do this is let's head over into our flows, and we'll create a new flow and an automated cloud flow. Just give me a second. All right, so let's call this AI Builder Voice. Hopefully I haven't used that name before. And here we go. We want to start with our trigger from Outlook. So we'll pick our Outlook when a new email arrives. So what we can do with this inbox is we can put a particular filter on it so that it runs based on what's in the subject. So let's say if I wanted it to run only if the word invoice is used in the subject of that email, we can put in that there. So it must have the word invoice for it to run. And we only want it to run if there are attachments. So we'll say yes to that. So now we've got our trigger. The next one is we want to be able to now extract the information. We're going to use the AI Builder action. So we'll search for AI Builder and let's select extract information from invoices. And over here, we just want to add in that dynamic content of that attachment that was there. So we'll select our attachments content. So that's the one that's going to take through and process. So next, we want our approval stage. So let's add an approval. You'll also notice that it's put it in this loop, apply to each. So this apply to each means that for every attachment that's there, so maybe if they sent 5 invoices on that one email, it will run the same thing for all 5 of them. So that's what apply to each means, and that's automatically added. So over here, let's do our approval step, start and wait for an approval. And let's select, we only want one person to approve it in this case, so let's just do first to respond. And now we can add in that dynamic content or the info that was pulled out from that invoice. So let's say invoice from. I won't pull out all the info now, just so we can move through a bit faster. And let's look for customer name. But you can see we're working in that information into the approval. So now let's quickly do something like the invoice total. And maybe the due date as well. Or any other info that you wanted written there for the approver to see, you can add in. And finally, once that's approved, we want to add in a condition here. So if it goes through the approval, then we can go and get an email sent back to our accounts team. So over here in our condition, let's say the outcome is equal to approve. Let's go and forward that email through. So let's do an Outlook action. And send an email. So I won't go through and fill this out now because we've seen how it runs. But essentially here, what you can do is the same thing. So you can send the email to your accounts team or whoever might need to go and process it. Put in a subject. And finally, you can do things like attach the document that's there from the attachments area, as well as type in whatever you want in the body of it. So I won't go through building this all out because we've seen it run. And we've got another one to show you as well. So Amanda, what's the next scenario that we would like to demo? Or before that, do we have any questions about this one here?
Nothing coming through, but if anyone would like to put a question in, you are welcome to do. Oh, hang on, here we go. There's one that's just come through as I'm saying there isn't one. All right, we've actually got someone answering a question. Thank you, Isaac.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Isaac.
So yeah, look, this is what I was talking about before. So essentially what we've got is highly sophisticated functionality in the Azure stack, the cognitive services. You can use machine learning, you can train your own models, you can do very highly sophisticated things. And then AI Builder is drawing up some of that to make it this wizard style interface so that you don't need to get in under the hood for all of those kinds of things. So there's some wisdom on the subject from Isaac. Thank you for adding that in to the mix for us. No other questions that I can see, but please pop them in the chat as we go, but otherwise keep going.
Thanks, Isaac, and thanks, Lisa. Okay, so let's go through something a little bit more unstructured. We'll use a contract schedule as an example here where data isn't always in the same place and you don't have a pre-built model to work on. So how could you create a custom model, or how could you build a custom model to extract some data from a contract schedule? And again, the context here is, lawyers are often receiving contracts. They need to review it. The first place they go to, or the first place the business wants to see is what are the particulars? What are the specific terms and conditions? What are some of the key points, where it's outlined what the price is, what the liability position is, a warranty period, etc. And those details are often in a contract schedule at the back of a document.
All right, so let's take a look. First of all, this, like Amanda said, it's one that we will need to train ourselves. So to be able to train it, of course, we need some data, we need some documents that we're going to use for the training. So with this, you want about 5 documents for the training. Usually you want more though. So the more training and the more document examples that you train it with, of course, the more accurate it's going to be. So over here, I've got some supply agreements. You can see this is what they look like. They're all a similar format, so they're all the same. But over here on the last page in particular, it's where I have the information that I want to extract from here. So, I mean, I could go through and extract any other information, but for the demo, we'll focus on this last page that we have here. So let's say if I want to train my model to be able to read this document, it can pull out the commencement date, completion date, the goods, and who the organization it's for. And you'll also see the documents that I'm training it with are of that same format as well. All right, so let me show you where we go and find this back in AI Builder. By the way, I've already pre-trained this model because it will take a bit of time, but I'm going to go and show us like the sort of step-by-step on how you do it. So first of all, you would start off over in the Explore area, and you want to go into your documents, and we want this one, extract custom information from documents. So this is going to take you through the wizard where you can go and train it. So the one I've done before is this one here, which is our one for the supply agreements. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. And I'm going to hit edit so we can see how it's done too. All right, so the first thing that we need to do is we want to first determine what are the fields or what's the information that we want to extract from this. So we'll see here, first it takes us through, we can select that. It's a structured, semi-structured document. There's also unstructured as well. In this case, it will work for the structured one because it's in that form that we want to pull out. And here we're just listing down the information we want to pull out. So I've got a few here: commencement date, completion, goods. We can click add if we want to add in more. And these are just simply fields. But if it was like a tick for a checkbox, you could select that instead on the form. So now we want to upload the documents that we have, and we can separate these out in different collections. I only have one collection here, and I have 5 supply agreements. This is what I'm going to use to train it. If I had a supply agreements that were in a different format, so maybe if they were for a different customer and they had a completely different look, then we could set up another collection for those particular documents instead. But since they're all the similar format, we've just uploaded all these 5 into one here. Your next step to train it is all about tagging it now. So it's a bit like, tagging someone in a photo. Instead, here you're just tagging where that information is on your forms that you have. So you'll work your way through these documents. So I'll head over into my last page. Let's zoom in a bit so we can see it. And we're simply just writing and selecting the text. And I'll just delete one here actually so we can see how it works. Remove that tag. So we can click on it, select what field it relates to. We can even drag and drop it to select a variety of text and do it that way. Otherwise, it can also pick up on particular words and dates by itself rather than you needing to draw the box over it. So what one do we want? We want the commencement date. Let's select that. So you would pretty much do that for all of the documents that you're training it with and work your way through that. Which, of course, I've already done, so you don't need to sit through me doing all that now. Hit next. And finally, you can hit train. But I won't hit train now because it will take a few minutes and I've already trained this one before. But once it's ready, you're then good to go ahead and use it in your document. Sorry, use it however you want. So by default, let's go take a look at this model again, is that you can also monitor the performance of it. So if I go and I open up my supply agreement one, you can see we have these results on the accuracy score. So this is really good. It's saying it's excellent. And you can also see how accurate is the information that it's pulling out as well. Though if it couldn't read a particular field very well, then you would see this red and it'd be a low result here. But this gives you that feedback on how the model is performing. If it wasn't performing well, you saw a lot of red on your screen, you can easily improve it by simply just adding in more documents, retraining it so that it can learn and pick up the fields better. But this one is looking good. So with that, immediately after you build it, there are ways you can start to use the model. So there are all these default flows here that are available for you to use, which we'll get to in the next part. So Amanda, what's a scenario that you think we could use this supply agreement for?
Go off mute there.
Yeah.
Look, often the case is you actually want to do something with the data once you've extracted it. So you might want to automatically process that agreement when new contracts are uploaded to SharePoint, or you might want to take the data that's been extracted and either send it to the team to say, hey, a new contract has come in, these are the details, and again use it in the context of approval, or add it to a contract life cycle management system. So for instance, we use a lot of that sort of capability as part of Consensus when we're doing contract life cycle management, or teams might simply want to use that data and add it to a register on an Excel. So there's endless possibilities.
Yep, of course. So going with that example, let's take a look at this one, which is for the SharePoint document library. So we'll build a flow, or actually there's even going to be a flow already built for us, which is going to extract so we'll upload this document, the supply agreement, into SharePoint or Teams, and then that's going to go and initiate the process for it to pull out the information from that. So let's go ahead and we'll hit this one, SharePoint document library. And the great thing about this is that it gives you some info as well on how to use it. So you don't even need to be really experienced in this to start using it. So you can see there's a lovely welcome message here to tell you how to use the default flow that's already there. So just the default flow. Actually, I won't do the default flow because it's a bit similar to the other one we've just did where it shows you the confidence score, which is the accuracy, and then the info. So what we'll do actually is we will process or upload a document to SharePoint, and then let's get it to extract that information and post it into Teams. So to show you what the end result of this looks like, let's open up that agreement. So I've got this one here, supply agreement. We're going to run through a flow, and it's going to extract this information posted in Teams for us. So over in Teams, so Teams, SharePoint is the same thing. You can upload it directly to SharePoint. You can upload it to the files in Teams. The same thing will occur. And I've specifically set up this folder for our supply agreements. So let's say one comes through. We want to process it now. So I can go through here and I can simply just upload this file into this folder. So it may take a few seconds or so for the process to run, but the end result of this one is that once I've uploaded it here, it will go and it's simply just going to post the information into Teams for us. But like Amanda said, you could really be whatever information that you want it to be. You could do whatever process you want. It's a schedule, so you could even like do things like take the date, maybe input it in like Planner or another scheduling system that you use. So I'll come back to this one. We'll probably see it appear here in a minute or so. Let me show you how we go and we build this flow. So let's head back into this one here when a file is created. Simply what we're doing is we just want to point it to the SharePoint folder where the file is going to be uploaded. So my one was over in my legal team. And if it's a specific folder as well, we can also specify that. So ours was in shared documents and general and our supply agreements. This one here, feel free to delete it, keep it in there if you want. We'll just keep it there for now. It's just a bit more for your own information. That one's there. And you can see automatically we have this action which is going to extract the information from it and use our supply agreement model that we've created too. So if you were building this from scratch, then you could also just specify this action and select your AI model from there to use it. But this one's already been built for us already. So this is the default action. It's going to send an email, but we don't want that to happen. Let's just go ahead and delete these last few ones that are here. We just want to post it in Teams. Let me actually go and see if that message has posted yet. And there it is. So that's the one that it pulled out from that one that I've just tested, where we uploaded the file and it's taken that info and added it here. So back to that simple one-step thing. All we want to do here is just send it to Teams. So we'll use our Teams connector and let's do post a message. So we'll post in our legal team. We'll select our channel. And here, once again, you can use that dynamic content of that information that was pulled out from the form. So let's say agreement from or agreement for. And what was one of our fields? Let's say addressee. So by the way, the one you want to use is the one called addressee value. So value is the one that contains the actual text that was extracted from it. You'll also notice there's confidence score, there's page number. So confidence score if you want the accuracy of it, page numbers if you want what page the thing was on. But to get the actual value, make sure you use the value one. And then, of course, you can add in other content. So what else was there? I think we had the amounts. Or let me just pick it here. It was the goods. Goods value and the price value. And once again, it's like a Teams one, so you can also format the message if you want, like I did on the one that I've shown you. And there we go. So that's how we build the flow of that one I've demoed for us based on the document being created or moved over into SharePoint. Amanda, I think we're ready for the next one. How are we going for questions on this one, though?
Yeah, no questions that I can see so far, but keen to hear any other sort of feedback. What else other people, any other use cases for what people want to do with the data that they're extracting from their contracts. So please keep posting your comments. In the meantime, we've got a bit more time up our sleeve. So our third scenario that we thought we would discuss today is something a little bit more complex. I don't know if we'll have time to walk through each of the steps step by step, but again, it shows what the art of the possible is when it comes to, extracting and automating some processes straight from Microsoft. So again, we'll use a scenario that we've touched on before. In session 1 or 2, we use the idea of a Microsoft form to have a request to automate an NDA, and that request went through an approval process. In session 2, we discussed chatbots, and again, we use the idea of how chatbots could be used in the context of an internal use case within an organization for someone to ask a lawyer, hey, I need to create an NDA, can you please set one up? And the chatbot then and Power Automate then kicked off a flow to automate that document. And again, let's use that example here again. And in this case, we'll use the context of an email coming in and how you might use AI Builder to extract some of the data from the email and route it to the relevant person.
Yep, of course. Let's take a look at this one. So the idea of this one, like Amanda said, is all about routing. So for this one, we need to train our model to be able to identify what is the category of this email that's come through. So we can use the custom category. We can build one to be able to determine what's the info that's coming through. So let's say, for example, we have our inquiry inbox and we have all types of emails coming through. Maybe someone wants help with something like an NDA, or it might be something about like, when you open, can you help me with family law or divorce or whatever it might be. So these are things that maybe as the email comes through, you want it sent to a particular person to go and handle. So this is where we can use training data and all of these previous emails that we have to teach our model how to route it to the best place. And the thing about this is that it doesn't even need to use the words like NDA. So this one here I've wrote doesn't even use the word. But the way that it's been trained is that it can take what's the information is and then determine where we want to send it to from there. So let's say if I go and I send this email out, the idea of it is that we will have a flow that then sends this to the right team who deals with NDAs. So to be able to go and build this one and to use that type of routing, you would need a lot of training data to begin with. So the more training data you have, the more better, is that the right word? The better the AI model will perform. Let's head over into AI Builder, Explore. And let's open up our custom one. So we're looking at text. And we want to be able to classify text in custom categories. There are also these default ones here as well you can use, such as extract the key elements from it. So that one you don't need it to train, but this is only if you want to do things like take out the organization or take out the time. Or these predefined ones is for customer service. So if it's about documentation or if it's about pricing, if it's a complement, then they're these pre-built ones you can use. But for something specific like NDA, family law, criminal, whatever it might be, you can use this custom one to classify the text. And I've gone ahead and I've started building this one out already. So the idea of this one is, first of all, you need a lot of samples to be working with. So for every tag, like what do I have here? Let me open up what we've got here. So this is the model I've trained before, and it extracts or it can determine categories such as NDA, if it's just an inquiry about what services we offer, or like what type of law it relates to. If it wants to load, let me hit the refresh again. All right, so for this one, you will take those emails, and then from there, you just need to add tags to them to be able to train it. So if an email comes through just about what services you offer, you can type in, or you can set it as the tag for legal inquiry. So the idea of this one is that you're training it just by having the text there and then writing down what the tag it relates to. So let me see if I can show you the one I've done before. And you need a minimum of 10 examples for each tag. So like I said, you'll need a lot of training data for this one. So I won't go through and build this one from scratch because it will take a bit of time. But like you can see here, so you pick your tags. Let's see if we can go back. So I have stored here like the text I want to work with. If I click next, I can then point it to where my tags are about it. Each one can have multiple tags as well. And then from here, you can review. So you can see here, we've got the information, and then this is how we've tagged it to what category it is. So then for your routing of it, let me go back into AI Builder. There's a flow here that you can use, which you can just modify a bit to start using already. So if we go into our Legals Inquiry classification, we can simply just click Use Model, and we can use it in a flow. There's this template here already to analyze the incoming emails and then route it to the right person. So what we can do here is, once that loads, let's go ahead. So for all of those different tags, what you can do here is you can set it up. So if the tag equals NDA, I can then specify who I want that email sent to. Or if it's about pricing and billing, then it will be sent to this particular person. So with this default flow, all you need to do is have the email come through. It will put it in the right categories, and then it will send that email out. So let's say if that email I sent before was sent to the service inbox, then Alex in response will get that email forwarded to him. There we go. So that's what it would have looked like when, I mean, it had pictures there, but that's what it would look like. So it comes through and then it's sent off to the right person from that point. And Amanda, that's a bit about the routing and how we can train our own models for these custom categories that we have.
Thanks, Roshona. Look, I mean, there's so much potential in that, and there are so many pre-built models that you can use and pre-built flows in and of itself that you know, once you have the data, and you know, the richer your data is, the more data that you have, the richer the field. So there's a great value that you can get using AI Builder to use. You know, we're transitioning as a legal industry from unstructured data into structured data. And this is a great tool to extract some of the value out of your data, to assist with migration of contract data, to assist with contract reviews, and to make, you know, streamline some of the internal processes. So we hope that you've enjoyed today's session. Just a reminder that we're taking a break over the school holiday period. And so we'll meet you again in 1 month's time, where we're going to discuss email management and document management, which is often a key business requirement that needs to be solved so that the lawyers can continue to work in Outlook without constantly having to switch applications to track and monitor the matters that they're working on. And then, you know, we'll round it out over session 6, which will take a deeper dive into document management and all of Microsoft's broader collaboration tools. Session 7, again, will highlight law firm CRM and how you can use Dynamics, how law firms can use Dynamics for their CRM system. And then session 8 will continue with Power Apps themselves, and we'll be using a model-driven app to showcase some of the potential. So you can register for session 5 already through that link. So then you won't forget, and you'll get that notification from LinkedIn when the time comes. It's been great having you, and Lisa, Rashona, thank you for all your assistance, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Of course, thanks for joining today, everyone.
Thanks, Amanda. Thanks, Rashona. Please pop any final questions you've got in the chat there. We will also be watching this thread after the event. So if you think of anything, or if you're watching this on replay, do pop questions in the chat and we will keep an eye on it. If you would like to watch this session on demand, share it with your colleagues and friends. It will be available right here on our Barhead Solutions LinkedIn page pretty much immediately after the event. It takes a few minutes to process through, and then you'll be able to watch it on demand anytime. Thank you very much for joining us. Don't forget to register for our upcoming sessions. As Amanda mentioned, we're going to have a little bit of a break here for the school holidays and come back after that with the next one. So thanks very much. I can see some applauses and things coming up in the live reactions there, so thanks for that, and we'll see you next time.